Welcome to the Modus Edge, where we celebrate business, primarily youth sports facility management, leadership, and motivation. Co-hosted by Stacy Rowe, Cole Stott, Kevin Brubaker, and Casey Jones. We are here to fill your cup with knowledge, laughter, affirmations, and comfort knowing that you're not alone. You can and will succeed with the Modus Edge.
Hello and welcome to the Modus Edge. We are excited to have you guys here today. We've got the gang all back together again.
Yeah, whoop, whoop. It's been a minute since we've been on a podcast together.
It's been glorious to not have Casey on a couple.
I think it's been you.
But I do like that X shirt today. So
yeah, there we go.
It looks good on you.
Looking good.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to chat about books today because you guys are such avid readers.
Actually, Kevin and Cole can go ahead and hop off. So
I'm gone. I'm not actually an avid reader. That's one thing I wish I did more of. So I'll read a lot of stuff like online. I'll read like newspapers. I'll read like articles, different, news pieces. But I don't read a lot of books. But now that one of my great friends and business partners is a world-renowned author, I'm starting to read again.
One chapter or so here and there.
So I got a question for you, Stacy.
Yeah.
For everyone who doesn't know, how did you talk through the thought process of your name, of what you write under it? Because most people probably don't know that.
Yeah. So when I wrote my first book, it was really kind of not like a plan to become a writer and write many more books. It was just something I thought I was going to do one time and call it a day. And I really wanted to, I thought a lot about my author name and did I want to publish under my name, Stacy Rowe? Did I not? And I decided to choose SR Fabrico, because I think it's kind of a cool author name. I'm not sure that Stacy Rowe is like the coolest author name on the planet. But the real reason why I chose it is because it was my mom's initial. So my mom's name was Suzanne Regina Fabrico, and
awesome.
She died when I was 21. And I was kind of, my first book was dedicated to my husband. So it wasn't dedicated to my mom, but I kind of wanted to publish under her initials or name, just as a way to honor her and just all that she meant in my life. And then once you work really hard to create a following and get people to know who you are, it's kind of hard to change after that. And so I didn't intend to write more books. But then when I decided to write more books, I was like, well, I guess I'll just stick with this name. So here it is, SR Fabrico. And my name legally actually is Stacy Fabrico Rowe. So it is my name technically still. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's an awesome tribute to your mom too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah. What was your first book?
My first book was called The Secrets We Conceal, and it was a fiction based on a true story. Yeah. So it was a story that I wrote actually with no intention of publishing it for my husband, to kind of tell my husband, Chris, this story and just how much of an impact he had on my life. And I gave it to him for a Christmas present in 2019, 2018. I don't know. I literally typed it up on a computer and printed it out on a printer, 3-hole punched it, stuck it in a binder and put it under the Christmas tree. Like, Merry Christmas. I wrote you a book.
That's awesome.
And so I call it my story. Like, it was just a story that I was telling him, and I never thought I would do anything with it. And then COVID happened, and I was like, I had a little bit of extra time on my hands, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to publish this book because I put all this time and effort into it. And I just really kind of fell in love with the process of writing and editing and publishing. And I think looking back, I quit coaching in 2018. And I think that writing has like kind of filled my creative void that I was missing from coaching. So, yeah.
Now we understand why Chris worships you and does whatever you say because you wrote a book for him. That's pretty awesome. Or Chris is scared of you and he worships you and does whatever you say. I'm not sure.
I hope he's not scared of me.
Kevin, if Jen wrote you a book, would you even be able to read the whole thing? Like,
I mean,
Jen would have to write you an audio book.
She'd
have to record a book for you.
There you go.
So my first book is actually available on audio.
Awesome.
Yeah,
right, I might listen to that.
What's that process like when you make it an audiobook?
So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about doing it. What a lot of people don't know is that to produce an audiobook is extremely expensive, which is why my trilogy is not on audio yet. It's even more expensive to produce an audiobook than it is to just write a book. So I did kind of what you call like a hybrid model because I just wanted to try it and see what it was like. So there's a platform that kind of works with Amazon, or I guess it's not Amazon, it's Audible is the audiobook like through Kindle, which is connected to Amazon. But anyway, you go on there and you can hire, what am I trying to say? I'll just call them a producer. It's not like it's a voice artist to narrate your book, and they will kind of try out, they send you clips. You send them a couple chapters of your book and they send you back like themselves reading a few of the chapters. And I think I got about 12 or 13 auditions. And I did it this way because you can partner with the narrator. So I didn't have to pay as much money, and we split the royalty of the book. So anytime somebody buys the book, like they get some of the commission, and so do I, rather than just straight up paying the narrator, which was a little bit cheaper. So I wanted to try it that way and just kind of see what it was like. And it's gone pretty well. I haven't promoted that I have an audiobook a ton. So I haven't sold a ton of audiobooks, but that's mostly because I haven't really like done a whole lot of marketing for it. But anyway, Chris listened to the narrations with me. There was definitely like, 7 or 8. It was a hard no. like right away, you're like, that is just not the voice I'm looking for. It's funny because it wasn't that they were bad. It's just you picture like a certain, sound. And I'm like, no, that's not it.
I wonder how long before AI can do that.
That was going to be, AI can actually already do it. And so I am struggling right now with that because I have the ability in my platform where all of my books are to convert my three novels, my trilogy, into audiobooks. It's completely free because it's like, it won't be free forever, but it's free for me right now because I have this like beta test option. I've listened to the voices and they're actually really not bad. And you have the ability to like listen to every part of it, and you can change the way that they say certain words. Like you can go in and fix it and make it pretty enjoyable to listen to.
Oh, wow.
However, I have a vocalist in Southport that met me when I was doing my books, and she has stayed in touch and we've kind of become friends, and she really wants to narrate my books. And I have a hard time, like, with the AI like aspect of it, because we're going to put
it's not going to be as personable.
Yeah. And it's not as good. I mean, it's definitely not as good, but I'll be honest with you, it's really not bad either. So I'm considering, which way I'm going to go with that. But because I do want to put them on audio. People ask me all the time if I have them on audio, and I don't yet, obviously.
So you wrote the book for your husband, you enjoyed it, and then you're like, all right, I want to write more.
Yeah. So ironically, yes. So I started a whole other book that I thought would be really fun and awesome. And then I was about 13 chapters in and decided that it was no longer a good idea to publish that book. And I scrapped it. And I accidentally deleted it later. I didn't mean to do that because I thought maybe I would publish it again later on. But the topic of my first book was kind of heavy, and I wanted to get out of that, but I needed something to kind of bridge the gap. So this book was kind of supposed to be that. And then, like I said, I decided it wasn't a good idea to publish it. So I had gone to visit my brother and sister-in-law in Southport, North Carolina. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just, I needed to get away for a few days. I was having a rough time just in life at the moment. And I was like, I just want to get away for a couple of days. So I drove to Southport to visit my brother and sister-in-law and hang out with them for like 3 days. And I took my computer to the waterfront on a picnic table and was just sitting there kind of watching all the people go by. And this book like spilled out of me, the whole entire outline. Like I had the whole story written. By the time I came home to have dinner with them, I was telling them all about it. And she was like, I can't believe you just came up with all of that like in this day. And I was like, yeah. So not the book itself, but just kind of each chapter and what was going to unfold in the story. And the town is just really cool. And I don't know, it just kind of happened. And then when I was writing that book, was never intended to be a trilogy. When I was writing that book, I I was like, there's a whole lot more to this story I want to unpack. So then I turned it into a 3-book series. Yeah. Which was pretty crazy.
Not to give away the book, I think it was maybe the second one. I was asking Stacy, like, how's it going? I was like, what happens? And she goes, well, there's a twist. And it's kind of like, I was like, wow, there's some, you got some demons of like, how do you even think of that twist?
I have a very important question.
Yes.
Because my wife loves these things. I know Casey's read every word in his family. So I am really excited to see the movie. So when is that going to happen?
So I don't know. That would be really cool and awesome. A movie or like a Netflix series, but I have to have a screenplay written first in order to try to submit that, pitch that somewhere. So I've been a little busy working on other books at the moment. And so I don't have, and I've never written a screenplay. I don't know that I'm going to try to write a screenplay myself. I don't know that I would know how to do that. Of course, I didn't know how to write a book until I started doing that either. But
I do think this would make a great movie. I mean, it really would.
Yeah. Have you finished the 3rd book yet, Casey?
I have not finished the 3rd book. It'll be probably fall before I get to that because
I know
Stacy and I slow read everything. I actually don't slow read, but training for this event. So everything I'm doing right now is audiobooks. So.
Which I am not an audio, right? Which they are not an audiobook. But I know Heather's read all 3, right? And Emily, has she finished the 3rd one yet?
Emily has finished everything. Okay. It was funny because we went to spring break and last summer Heather had read the 2nd book and she was like, call Stacy and tell her I'm mad at her. She did not like the ending. Let me rephrase it. She didn't.
I know what you mean. She was angry at the ending.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So then book 3, I hear, ties this all back together. But I read book 2 on spring break this year in the Cayman Islands. And I texted Stacy and I was like, well, I see why Heather was upset with you. It's like, and then it was funny because I was talking to your husband, Chris, and he was like, yeah, remember what the book's about. Remember who the true character of the book is. And he didn't give anything away in book 3, but kind of, let me know where it was going there. So.
I do remember when Cole was asking me like what the books were about, and I kind of started walking him through the plot lines because he's not going to read them. So I can tell him like all the details, and I could see the look on his face where he was kind of like, who are you?
Yeah, that's like interesting.
Where did all of those ideas come from?
She'll don't cross her. She'll put some thought into being able to get rid of you.
There's a lot of things that I'm afraid of in the world, and top of the list is Stacy Rowe. I haven't read one book, so it's
how do you describe the book? Not a
romantic suspense. Is that what you mean?
Yes, romantic suspense.
Yeah, so there's definitely some romance, but it's suspenseful. But it's not like it's not a thriller where it's like super like dark and creepy, So that's why I call it suspense. It's more just kind of light, fun. I think it's light and fun, suspenseful. It's not going to keep you up at night if you read it. Meaning, it might keep you up because you're reading, because you're trying to get through it, but it's not going to keep you up like you're scared. It's not like a Stephen King horror thriller or anything like that.
Well, I've really enjoyed reading them. I would tell a little fun fact and a thing I would kind of try to hide from time to time because I've always been an avid reader. But man, I love a good kind of romance novel. Like I love Nicholas Sparks.
I do too.
And literally I would get on an airplane and I would have to buy a men's fitness magazine to put outside of my Nicholas Sparks book to hide it because I didn't want anybody to judge me. But like, man, I love it.
I've seen all his movies, I think literally, he's had, I don't know how many.
A lot. Message in a Bottle, The Notebook, of course.
Notebook's one of my faves.
Yeah.
There's a ton.
And I'm like the emotional one of our family. So I'm reading a book at night or reading this Nicholas Sparks book at night, just in there, just tears running down my face, crying. And Heather's like, what are you doing? What's your problem?
Has Call Her Janie brought any tears to your eyes? Surely the 2nd book brought some tears to your eyes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. And like, I'm the guy that like, I get teary eyed at those old Lifesaver commercials, like anything can bring tears to my eyes. So, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so the trilogy is called the Southport series, but the first book in the series is Call Her Janie, and then Keeping Janie, and then the last book that just came out in February of this past year is Janie's Hope. And that's the last one. Yeah. And I've been preoccupied. It was actually kind of a lot. So Janie's Hope was coming out in February. And although the book was written, there's still a lot of work that has to be done with the editing and the proofreading and then the actual like formatting of the book and publishing and marketing and promotion. I actually went to Southport to do like a signing in the actual town, and I did a book club, which was really super awesome, with some people from the area that had read they hadn't read the third one because it had just come out, but they had read the first and second one, and so they got to ask me questions, and that was really fun. But simultaneously, while all of that was happening, I was starting to write the pioneers of All-Star Cheer, and so I've never been working on two books at the same time.
That's a lot. When's Pioneers Part 2 coming out?
Pioneers Part 2?
Yeah.
Pioneers, we don't even have Pioneers Part 1.
I know. Really excited about that coming out. Obviously, all of us are part of the book, so thank you for including us. But I think that's going to be something really, really cool for people who are involved in all-star cheerleading or just cheerleading and dance in general. For the parents, for the athletes, for the coaches, to really look back and see, how did we get to the spot that we're in now, and where did it start? And when you read, I'm interested in really reading all the stories. I feel like I kind of halfway know, what went down, but I've learned so much from Stacy. She's interviewed over 100 people for this book, and some just kind of really neat facts that I had no idea. I think I'm really looking forward to reading.
I have read it, and there was so much in there that I didn't know. Just things, especially from the early history, things I didn't know. So, Stacy, how different was it writing a nonfiction book? Coming from fiction novels, like was that?
So it was extremely different. So first of all, the whole thing came about because Cole came to my office one day and was like, "Hey, I think that you should, write a book about cheerleading or whatever, for our industry." And I was like, yeah, it's been on my list of things that I thought I might tackle one day. But with everything that we had going on with Modus, and him kind of prompting me, and then we all, the four of us talked about it. I was like, all right, we can do this. And I initially thought I would do like a book with gym owner tips or whatever, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I think this doesn't exist, like that nobody's told the story of how All-Star Cheerleading came to be. Let's do that. So it started off with, I'm just going to tell the history. And I talked to my editors several times before I got started, because I am a fiction writer. So, I just make things up. Like my stories can be whatever I want them to be, and I can start, and this happens oftentimes. Like I have a plan with what is going to happen with my characters. And then I'm writing, and all of a sudden, like my characters decide, no, we're going to go over here now, and this is what's going to happen. And like literally in the middle of writing, the storyline changes. Well, with this, it's fact. It's not, I can't make it up. So
yeah, and I really feel like you've done your due diligence. I've been impressed at like the steps that you've taken to make sure that everyone's chapter and their story is accurate, and let everyone go back and look at it and make some adjustments. So, I applaud.
Well, yeah, because it's important that it's right. And, it's funny how even though I did over 100 interviews, well, first of all, let's just talk about that. So, I write a story. Wow. I think of an outline and what I want to do, and I just, go to it. That's what I typically do. But with this, it had to be real. So I did over 100 interviews. I had to collect all of that information and then chronologically organize it and sort through it to build what is the history and evolution. And I call it the history and evolution because it's not, the book isn't just about the past. It leads us up to, 2024-ish, let's say, to kind of where we are now today. So it's the history of how it got started and then how it evolved over time. And I had to take all of that and organize it. And that was a daunting task. And actually, I was really starting to pull my hair out because I was kind of doing that as I was doing interviews, and my husband could see how like that was overwhelming me. And so he stepped in and actually helped me organize that. He actually listened to every single interview that I did and helped transcribe those interviews and put them in chronological order for me so that I could write the book. He was actually a huge part of helping organize all of that until the Cheer Expo snagged him up and he started working for you guys, and then he stopped helping me.
Yeah.
Well, let's be real. All-Star Cheerleading, nobody ever canceled an interview. You were easy to get a hold of everyone. Nobody ever had a problem with calling you back. I mean, you couldn't have a sport that's more organized. Right. So many type A people that were just responsive.
In case our listeners aren't sure, Kevin's being extremely sarcastic.
Yes. And it'd be funny not to call people out with like certain interviews, because obviously, Stacy and I work in the same office. And she's like, oh, well, so-and-so was in the drive-thru at McDonald's ordering and trying to do that. And it fits kind of the personalities because it's a small world. And then other people are so buttoned up and ready to go and, sitting at their, computer and have all their notes and organized and, it's
and then there's I forgot the first time. Stacy's like, hey, are we doing the interview today? What interview? What are you talking about? I literally forgot the first time that we were doing the interview. So,
well, I'm sure too that what our listeners don't know is there's actually 5 partners of Modus in the Cheer Expo. There is Cole, Casey, and I often on the same page, and Stacy's trying to herd cats with the 3 of us. And then there's Stacy, who's a partner. And then there's the alter ego Stacy when it's editing book time. That's a completely different animal for all of us. And so that's our 5th partner.
Yeah.
I would say my husband would agree. So when well, first of all, so my novels are anywhere from like 60,000 words to 75,000 words. People always ask how many pages. Well, you don't know the page count until the book is actually finished at the very end, and it's formatted in its, there's a variety of different sizes of books that you can choose to make your book, like small, big, medium, whatever. And so you don't actually know the page count until you get to that point, which is at the end. So people always ask, how many pages? It's not at this point, it's how many words. So my novels were anywhere from 60 to 75,000 words. This book is 137,000 words.
Wow.
So it's a lot of words. And every time that I get the book, well, first of all, I had to do all of that. So I didn't make any of that up, right? So all of that is from different interviews collected, watching those interviews back, listening to those interviews back. It's crazy how even with, doing the interview live, listening to the interview back, you still perceive things differently than intended. It's interesting. And it's important, like Cole said, I want to make sure that I get all that right. Then a little secret that I don't really talk about very often is with my MS now, I mix up words. So for example, when Cole was reading his chapter, I had written that he went to the University of Texas.
Yeah. I was like, hey, there's a few typos in there. I mean, you know me for a minute. It's like, you do know I went to Tennessee, right?
Yeah. So that never happened to me before.
I didn't see you hanging out on the sidelines with
Matt McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey.
Right. Yeah. So that never happened to me before until I was diagnosed with MS. And so I noticed it in my 3rd novel. But my editor was able to catch and help me with those because they were, like I would say, I don't know, coach instead of couch or something like that. And she would obviously know that that's not what I meant. But the editor in this case would never know that Cole went to the University of Tennessee versus the University of Texas. Right. So I had to be very careful and reread. And, I can hear Tennessee and I know Tennessee, but just Texas is what comes out on the computer. So that's been fun. 137 times 137 words to make sure that it's all right. And then the editors, they kind of poke holes through. It's a lot like building a routine, except it's a lot longer, but they poke holes through some of the things, or you didn't quite explain this well enough. And one of the things that's been really interesting too, is trying to find a balance between, cheer people reading this, they're going to know, obviously, the terminology, they're going to know, and the history to some degree. Like they're going to know the companies, they're going to know the people, but non-cheer people are going to know nothing. And so it's a balance of trying to figure out like how much do you explain for a non-cheer person that's reading the book, and so that they can understand it, but you don't want to bore a cheer person that's reading the book. Like, I don't need you to explain to me what a kick double full basket is. I know what that is, but a non-cheerleader is not going to have any idea. So that's been funny too with the editors. Like they'll make notes like, I don't understand, this, or they'll reword something. Like here's a little fun fact. So they want to put the NCA on everything instead of NCA. And I'm like, I understand that technically if you were to say National Cheerleaders Association, you probably would use the in front of it, but like when you're using the acronym, you don't. And so I have to go back and fix all of that. Anyway, to Kevin's point, the monster, the alter ego of Stacy comes out when the editors give me my book back and I have to review 137,000 words, think over the words, change them, edit, fix it, do it, whatever. And I have a deadline of, a week. And so the last time I basically yelled at everybody and I was like, don't call me, don't talk to me. I can't be bothered with any of you. I need to get this done.
So basically every time Stacy's editing the book, the three of us are just going on vacation. We got nothing to do because Stacy's not telling us what to do. So that's
the last time.
And if we do have something to do, we're not going to do it well because we don't have any oversight.
Well, the last time, it was about a month ago. Remember, she sent us all a text about, we had a bunch of stuff going on with Modus, which Casey's going to tell us about here in a second. But is she sends out a text saying, hey, just really pretend I'm gone for the next 2 days. I'm out. Leave me alone. Casey sent a funny joke back to her. Literally 7:30 the next morning, I'm getting like 20 texts from Stacy. It's like, well, that lasted about 8 hours. It's like, leave me alone. I can't do anything. I have to focus on the book. Oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about this?
No, you're exactly right. And that speaks a lot to Stacy and her character and her work ethic. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to jump off script here a little bit. So, Stacy, if you don't like this, you can edit it out. But that's Stacy and I have talked a lot about this book. I've actually been blessed to be able to read it. I have seen the heart and soul that she has poured into telling this story. But the difference is this isn't her story. This is other people's story. And as it gets closer to time to launch the book, there is a little bit of anxiety on her part from this because, man, the cheerleading world can be very critical and people get defensive and they get their feelings hurt. And she's like, oh my, just kind of worried about those things. But I'm like, don't worry about it because you're telling everyone else's story. And the reality, there are going to be people that are like, well, such and such should have been in the book, or I should have been in the book. But a lot of people weren't available for interview or didn't want to be interviewed or different things like that. So I would imagine there'll be a second one. But the thing that I just want to say is Stacy has literally tried to turn over every single stone that she can to make sure that the true facts of the history of All Star is told, the good, the bad, and the in between. So it really is. It's a great read. It's a fun read, even though it's a factual book. But she nailed it.
Well, I think too, and I'll say too, I think Stacy, you can relay this better. But one of the questions you ask, I think everybody, who should be in the book, and trying to find out, what can we do to get those OGs, and asking everybody. So I don't know what your list of questions were. I know what you asked me, and I think my questions were better than Casey's for sure. But overall, what were some of the questions that you asked everybody?
Oh, goodness. So I did until the end. I mean, I took a few interviews even at the last minute, even a couple weeks, not a couple weeks ago, but about, a couple months ago, like squeezing people in at the last minute that I felt like were important and hadn't responded. But I did in the very beginning, ask everybody, do you have anybody else that you recommend, to be in the book? So the list that I started with about 25 or 30 people. You guys helped me with it. And from there, we got up to over 100 people because I did ask that question. And almost after every interview, I'd have 2 or 3 people to add to the list. And not everybody got their own chapter, but everybody's story that they told me was included in the history, at least in some way, shape, or form.
Wow.
So I asked, I always asked everybody how they started in cheerleading and then how they got into All-Star. Because oftentimes, in the older there's a lot of people today that started in All Star, but if we're going back, I didn't interview a ton of young people, right? Because we're talking about the history. So most of the people that I interviewed started cheerleading in another way and then kind of morphed into All Star. So I asked that, I asked, my goodness, I wasn't prepared for this question, so I don't have my list in front of me, but I asked them, who was influential in their life, as far as it pertained to All Star. I asked, funny stories, how do they define success? I'm trying to think what other questions there. The chapters are broken down into kind of their story, and then it's like some fun facts. I asked like tips. So there's a whole section of tips from each person and different tips that they would share and things like that. What did you say, Casey? Did you remember one of the questions?
The spirit animal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So everybody had an animal that they chose that they kind of felt like I gave them a list. And they had characteristics. And so they got to choose like an animal that was like them. One of the other questions that I asked that I think is pretty cool is if they could make a neon sign for the industry with a message that they would share to everybody in the sport, what would that be? And so I have created little neon sign graphics that are at the bottom of everybody's chapter, which I think is pretty cool. So all the different little pioneers. So the beginning of the book is the history and evolution. And then it goes into individual chapters telling each individual person's story.
Spoiler alert. I got so upset on the spirit animal because Stacy sent us all these descriptions, and like I read one, I'm like, that is me. And then I looked to the left to see what animal it is. It was a freaking cow. Like I'm a cow. I wanted to be like a wolf or a lion or something. But
that's awesome.
And then I was like, well, I'm going to have to lie because I'm going to have to be a wolf or a lion. I went with it. I'm a cow. So
I thought you were worse than a cow, Stacy or Casey, just for the record. So that's beautiful. I love cows. I eat hamburgers a lot. So
I will say though, it has been, it's been great. I'm really honored to tell everybody's story. I think that my anxiety and stress is coming from how much I respect everyone in the industry and how I want to do justice to everyone's story, and I want it to be right, and I want to honor each of the people who created this great, amazing sport from nothing, and I want everybody to be excited about it and pleased. And so I feel like I'm questioning all the words on all the pages. Did I get this right? Did I say this right? But I once it's done, it's done. I've been through this before. When I published my first book, I remember looking at my husband and, at 11:59 PM before it actually like hit the shelves at midnight, I was like, okay, I guess we can't take it back now. Like, it's happening.
Yeah,
and I haven't felt that way since I published my first book. And I definitely feel that way about this one. Like I am trying, to constantly just revise and get it right. And I feel like I won't stop until it's published. And then that's it. Like then it's just done.
That's what we do in cheerleading. We constantly critique, and that's the audience. And the reality is, somebody's going to feel like somebody was left out or something like that. That'll open the door for the second edition,
Yeah. So I do plan on having writing a second edition. I want it to be correct. So if there's, a different history information that comes to light or, whatever, additional people that were missed, like Kevin said, I feel pretty confident, I did ask that question of everybody. I feel pretty confident that we got quite a few people on the list, but if it turns out that somebody was missed, absolutely, there's even information in the book about, how they can contact me to get that information in my hands, and we will write a second edition. I do plan to write the Pioneers of All-Star Dance as well. I am going to take a small break from writing. I feel like the
8 hours, Cole.
No,
yeah, she'll take small breaks. She'll start tomorrow morning.
I feel like the two books back to back, and this. I mean, this book has been a lot of work, and I was happy to do it. Don't misunderstand me, but my daughter is going into her freshman year in college. My son has got 2 years left in high school, and I want to be more present. So I'm just going to take a little break. But once he gets off to college, I will start again. Now that doesn't mean I won't write, but I'm not going to push. So I should back up a second. I won't publish. I don't want to publish another book until my kids are graduated. And I just want to take a minute.
Good luck with that, folks. You probably start on the outline this afternoon, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Modus right now, if you guys have a second.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Modus is a community of gym owners working together to help each other grow. As a member of Modus, you get access to Gym Owners Vault, which includes templates for every aspect of your business. We continue to add new resources constantly. In addition, you are added to our private VIP Owners Facebook group, as well as the opportunity to join monthly webinars geared towards gym owners. You also receive amazing discounts from our Prime Alliance producers, the Cheer Expo, Choice Events, All Out Brands, All Day Cheerleading, American Spirit Championships, and our awesome affiliates.
And
Infinity.
World Cheer Co. We just added World Cheer Co. recently, so we can't leave
World
them
Cheer
out.
Co. And our awesome affiliates, Infinity, Cheer Sounds, Bookshop Fundraising, and more. As a member of the Modus business, you get to join us for our Business Expo conference, September 28th through the 30th in Nashville, Tennessee. That is an awesome, awesome conference. Like, I can't speak enough about how great that is. I've been to a lot of conferences, and really not saying this because we do it, but I think this is the best and really geared towards gym owners. So we would love for you guys to join us join Modus and join us at our Business Expo. And this year, as we've been discussing, we're hosting the Pioneers of All-Star book launch to celebrate the pioneers and the book. Ooh. So join the movement today at www.joinmodus.com. That's www.joinmotus.com. I spelled it.
I'm pretty sure you said Jot the first time, but I'm not going to call you out.
Pretty sure what?
He said Jot.
Jot Modus? Close enough. Normally I misspell it right. Well, all right. So now I got a dad joke before we move into topic 2.
Okay.
So this is actually related to books. So I am reading a book about anti-gravity.
How's that going?
It's impossible to put it down.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I actually knew the answer, so I stayed quiet because my son told me that joke when he was little. So
that's a good one.
Very fitting for today's topic.
Yeah.
So Stacy, this might be a hard question to answer.
Okay.
Hopefully not too hard, but through our discussions and then just over the years, it's everyone kind of creates their own history, and everyone remembers how things evolved differently. It's an age-old thing. It's, someone has this story, someone has this story. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Sorry. So how did you weed through all that? I can give specific examples. I can give specific examples of certain things that have happened over time. Let's just, one that, comes up a lot is USASF and USASF rules and how they made CCC and how all that interacted and how all that merged. I mean, there's I can tell you 10 different people's versions, and they are all 10 very different of what actually happened and what really went down.
Yeah,
back in the early 2000s.
I have experienced a lot of that in a lot of ways, and having to kind of just with dates as well too. People don't always remember the exact date. It's hard to go back and find the exact dates. And so I have taken all of that. So in that example with the NACCC and the USASF, for example, all of the people that were involved have been interviewed. Some people I spoke to multiple times. And then once it's written, I think that people collectively kind of realize, okay, this is going to go in black and white. And so I need to be sure that my version is correct. And so they'll kind of correct themselves a little bit, like, no, actually, this is what happened. And I think we get to a cohesive place where everybody agrees that, okay, collectively, this is actually the truth. And so I had to do that quite a bit with a lot of things. And a lot of times they were people on completely two different pages, and a lot of times too, you believe your own story for a really long time too. So that has been interesting. And I'm sure that there's going to be people that read it and go like, that's not what happened. But, it is based on all of the people that I talk to,
Well, and I want to add too, Stacy, that everyone got to proofread their chapter, gave approval of it, so it's not like you wrote it based on what they said and it was your interpretation. It was, you wrote what they said, gave it back to them, and proofread and said, yes, this is correct. This is great. Or even, I'm sure there was some changes on some of those things as well. So it is, yes, you're writing, but it is the story.
I'm really glad that I did that for the most part. A lot of it was, I went to the University of Tennessee, not Texas.
Yeah.
A lot of it was more that than anything, but yeah, it was again, because I want to make sure that it's right for every person and that their story is told correctly. And something like the NACCC and the USASF, there were many people involved in those two entities and the creation of those two entities. And so I included all of those people in, it wasn't just, for the NACCC, for example, it wasn't just Elaine and Joelle's story. It wasn't just Victor and Kristen, or, Jamie Parrish even was part of that. Trying to think, Dennis Worley, it wasn't just one of them. It was all of them. And then is this the correct, version of the story? Was this the right hotel? Who remembers? Well, 3 of you think it was this hotel. 2 of you think it was this hotel. Somebody find me the answer. Dennis, for the NACCC, he still had the original book that they had all of their minutes and notes and everything. So I got a lot of really good, actual information. Cool. For the USASF, I actually got the charter. I have the actual date of when they were, their inaugural date. I forget the terminology. I can't think of the word right now, but I actually have a copy of that somebody sent me. So so it's been fun. It's been interesting. And there's already been some that's not true. I was first. This happened or that happened. And I'm like, sorry, but you weren't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The hardest thing, so I could give example upon examples of, the family plan's another one. It's with, on the varsity side, is how the family plan kind of evolved and where did that come from and what does that look like and what did that do to the industry? There's
I will say the one thing.
Stories on it.
I will say the one thing that I got out of this more than anything, just personally on a personal level, you guys know that just cheerleading all-star in general, it's been a love-hate relationship for me at times. And writing this book, I was overwhelmed with just the brilliance and kindness and there are some incredible people that are part of our sport. And it's easy, I think, Twitter can be toxic and, the news in the world in general, that it's more popular and it gets more ratings to talk about the garbage and the junk and the trash in the world in general. And then apply that to every aspect of life, including all-star cheerleading. But we really are a unique group of humans, in my opinion, with some really special, incredible folks that have poured their heart and soul and their life into building, what we do for kids. And it just reminded me, it was a blessing really to talk to so many incredible people. I mean, almost every single interview I hung up and I was like, man, what amazing people and what an amazing story. And that was person after person after person after person. And so I think that is incredible. And it really just breathed new life into me and reminded me, personally why, I've done what I've done for so many years, even though it gets tough sometimes.
I agree with that. And reading the book and being able to read it, just so much gratitude, for what the sport that we've been able to be involved with, the countless kids and parents and relationships that I have built, those are just, gosh, and all just so positive, and that's the thing. If sometimes we read a history of something, no matter what that history book is, and we tend to want to get angry with the history, or I wish it would have been this way, or I wish it would have been this. And so I don't know, for myself, I try to live by this motto. I do not want to become an angry old man. I run into I run into old people like Kevin, that are really, really old, and they're either happy and old or they are mad, and you've met them, those people, and they're upset
or forgetful and old,
and they're complaining about today's music and today's this and today, and they're complaining about everything today because it's not like it was. Or if we'd have done things like this in the past, then everything would be different today. And man, I just try to live in today, and hey, I'm right here today, and this great life and being involved in this great sport with all these great kids. But I'm here because of these people in the past, what they did right and what they did wrong. That's why we're here. And, I can't change the past. So let's live in today and let's honor these folks from the past, but really, really make sure that we're putting out the positive attitude. And, we're right. In my mind, we're right where we're supposed to be, and we've got to continue to grow and continue to push and move forward.
I think it's a great point, Casey. And I think, the sport is still so young, but it's old enough now that I think it's easy to look back and criticize, steps that were taken along the way. But I even talk about that in the book. But I think that it's important to acknowledge that, it's easy to criticize now that it's over, but who had the foresight and the fortitude and the passion and the drive to take the first step and to forge the way. And I think that we could all agree that, none of us knew what we were doing. We liked cheerleading. We wanted to keep doing it. So we created a sport out of it, and we just kind of learned as we went. And yes, we can do better, and we do better as we learn better as we move forward. And that's a great thing, but it wasn't like there was a roadmap. I mean, it would just,
No, we were truly making it. I know in the gym business, we were making it up as we went. It's like, gosh, how do we pay rent year round? How do we pay an employee year round? How do we, how do we do this stuff?
How do we keep the restrooms clean?
Right.
We still haven't figured that out.
That's the still magic. If anyone can figure that one out.
Sweatshirts from being flushed down the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it really is just such an honor to be able to be involved in this sport and this industry. And like, that's the thing. When I'm having a bad day, I do a couple mental exercises. Like I said, I try to remind myself every day to not become an angry man, but I fall short. And then there's days where I'm driving into the gym and I'm down, or I'm upset or frazzled about something. And
then I send him a picture of me, and it makes him happy.
Yeah. I try to do this. I try to look at all the different jobs that I see on the way to the gym. Everything from the guy digging the ditch on the side of the road, to the guy paving the road, to the person working in a restaurant, and all of those different things. And like, I almost always land on, man, I'm so blessed to be able to do what I want to do, and be able to work with so many wonderful people and wonderful kids. So it typically quickly snaps me out of that funk, and makes me grateful to be able to not have to put on a suit every single day and
hallelujah,
and drive in crazy traffic or anything, or go sit inside of an office.
Kevin, you were going to say something. Do you remember what it was?
I do actually.
Oh, good.
Go all the way back to when Casey did the Modus commercial talking about the Business Expo. I don't know if this is on the agenda. I read it so long ago, I don't remember, but I know we have a lot of OGs coming to Nashville, and the party and the launch on that Monday night. And so, people can still sign up and come to Nashville. I know we're expecting a couple hundred people. It's going to be awesome and great, but was I supposed to mention that, or should we? You can,
sure. Yeah. And if you don't have an invitation to the party, you can live stream it on our podcast YouTube page at The Modus Edge on YouTube. So if you're not coming to Nashville in person, you can see it all. We're going to have a red carpet and lots of speeches, and we're going to honor all the pioneers. It's going to be super fun. And the book comes out the next day. So the launch is on the 29th, and the book will be available everywhere stores are sold on September 30th, which is pretty exciting. We went back and forth. Chris and I decided, it was like, would it be better to go the week before or the day after the launch? There's a lot to do to get ready for that. And we decided on the day after the launch. So we'll see if that was a good decision or not.
Don't forget about the fireworks and the drone show and all that Nicole's putting on for this thing.
Yeah, I know it. It's going to be big time, guys.
Yeah. It was fun learning all of the history, though, and how things kind of, I don't know, just how the sport evolved. And like you said, Cole, like you think you know it, but you do to some degree. But when you really get into the nitty gritty of it, it's kind of fun and cool. And then now in 2025, I look at it all and I'm like, we are kind of, it's like anything else in history. It repeats itself, and we just, we just keep going in cycles, I feel like, with it. I feel like that's part of the evolution of the sport. I think
I've had a lot of people, obviously from a sales perspective, talking about the book and how much we've participated and things we've done. I'm like, Cole and Casey and I have done nothing. So Stacy wrote every part. I might have passed along a phone number or two. That was my contribution to get a hold of some people. But it's like, this is completely Stacy wrote. So, and I know the three of us are excited to be able to share some words of wisdom about you and to tell some truths about you in Nashville. And as we get to this launch party, so we're proud. So we are. I know I speak for the three of us. I know we joke all the time. I can't imagine being in charge of the three of us personally, especially because the Georgia connection, there's so many issues with him. But overall, I'm proud of you and what you've done. And I think it's just going to be an amazing thing for our sport. I really do. So, and amazing for people that are not in the sport to learn about our sport. I mean, it's in its infancy. We're barely, 40 plus years old. I think the first All-Star program was early 80s. And so, we're just over 40 years old. It's a pretty young sport. But there's so many people that have no idea that we, used to have one senior division, one junior division, one youth division, that there used to not be spring floor events. There used to be only a few competitions. And,
it honestly started originally just All-Star. Like there wasn't even a senior, junior, youth. It was just one All-Star division. Then it split to co-ed and all girl. Then it started splitting into the levels. And then some guy named Kevin decided to add novice, intermediate, advanced, elite, excel, basic, I don't know, whatever else, pick your level. You want to compete here? We got it.
Sure. You got redheads that want to wear shorts only. We got that division too. So you got a guy that wants to throw double layout on the floor. We don't care. It's legal.
We had one of those, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was fun to kind of reminisce and tell all those stories. And you guys have been, just super tremendous listening to me vent and just asking, I don't know, I feel like I've asked you guys a lot of questions. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And just giving me your opinions and helping connect me with different people that I couldn't get in touch with to try to get the book. Kevin was relentless in the pursuit of some people, which I think was helpful. And Cole and Casey too, obviously, but as we know, Kevin is the most relentless of the four of us when it comes to that kind of thing. And I appreciate it because I really I couldn't have done it. I don't think it would have been as good and as wonderful without your support. So I really do appreciate everything that you guys have done even just pushing me to do it in the first place. Although some days I want to strangle you for it.
Well, speaking of what's next, Kevin, why don't you tell us about CX Brands and the Prime Alliance?
Awesome. Well, we are growing Cheer Expo and Cheer X and Excel and Excite. We have 4 brands all under CX Brands. We're doing 16 competitions nationwide plus Fort Lauderdale. I'll talk about that in a second. But CX Brands is doing events in literally California and Vegas and Houston and Dallas and all the way up to Hartford, Connecticut, and all over the Midwest and the Southeast. And so we're excited to grow and do 16 events. Our premier event at the end of the season is in Myrtle Beach. It's April 17th, 18th, and 19th. So if you're looking for an end of the year event, that's going to be awesome. 19 million people go to Myrtle Beach every year. Do you know that? It's the #1 beach in North America.
I didn't know that actually.
It's right down the street from us, but it's pretty amazing. So we're excited about having an event in Myrtle Beach. But our website is thecxbrands.com. So you can check out our full schedule and all events. We'd love to have you come hang out and come to a competition. We do all 2-day national events with all the bells and whistles. And we offer a 1 or a 2-day experience for prep and novice teams, which is pretty amazing as well. So, and then we also have a partnership with the Prime Alliance. And that website is www.theprimealliance.com. We have an end of the year event in Fort Lauderdale at the beautiful Broward County Convention Center, some massive hotels, amazing beach. And that is May 9th and 10th. If you're looking for an end of the year event that has some extra awesomeness with 5 other event producers that have formed the Prime Alliance. And so, again, you can check out that website at theprimealliance.com.
Awesome. Good stuff.
It's going to be great. Going to be a great year.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Myrtle Beach. I haven't been there in a while, and I'm really looking forward to Fort Lauderdale. I've never been.
Yeah, I'm matching airbrush T-shirts.
I've not been to Myrtle Beach in about 10 years. We used to have, I used to go to Spirit Sports there, every year. But it's really, really cool. And I did not realize it was $19 million a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty
impressive. It's the number one beach in North America.
Kind of like Casey's idea. I think we should do some type of airbrush staff shirt even for the competition. That might be kind of fun.
And then Fort Lauderdale, I was lucky enough to go down there, I guess about a month ago now. And that facility is amazing. It's brand new, huge, nice, super, super cool Omni Hotel attached. So you can, stay right at the venue. There's obviously a lot of other options, or it's less than a mile to the beach. So if you literally want to stay on the beach, you can do that. So that one's going to be pretty cool as well.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for our Simon Sinek quote of the day.
Let's do it.
Here we go. A vision is like a dream. It will disappear unless you do something with it.
Oh.
That made me think of the day that you talked about I didn't have a name that time, but talked about the book. Like instantly you were like, I'm thinking about doing a book. And instantly in my head, I was like, the book's done. Like, you're going to do it. Stacy Rowe is that type of person. So you have a vision, a dream, whatever it is, a thought, and then it's done. Boom. So that's what came to my mind when you read that.
I love that. Yeah, and I think go ahead, Kevin.
I think of Cole. He is a vision caster, and I appreciate some of his ideas are the dumbest things I've ever heard, but some of them are absolutely amazing and have changed our sport for the better. But I'm thankful. I know the 4 of us are so similar in some ways, and then we are all 4 drastically different. And so I appreciate my friendship with Cole, but the vision casting. When you hear the word vision, I think of Cole in so many ways. Now his follow-up is another conversation. That's another podcast. But
that's
the vision.
That's where Stacy comes into play. We joke all the time, like we come up with these ideas, but then we got to actually make them happen and do it. Which is, I love that quote. I think that's perfect. Thank you for saying that, Kevin. A lot of times, like some of the things that we have accomplished, our group is shooting for some bigger things down the road, which is really starting to become a reality. And when I'm having side conversations, like, wow, how do you guys how's this happen? It's like, we tried, because a lot of people have an idea, but they don't take the steps to make it actually happen. And it's hard. A lot of times it's not easy steps. You got to work hard. You got to work, long hours. You got to get lucky a little bit, and sometimes the planets need to line up for you. But, I see that in a lot of people just in general in life, is that they always want more. They want to do this, but they don't actually take the steps to achieve that.
Well, and we constantly remind each other that what we're trying to do here is help the gym. And we know if we can help the gym, because that's the gyms are all-star cheerleading in our minds. And we believe that the gym owners the gym owners and the coaches, they're interacting with the kids all year long. So we try to keep them at the forefront.
That's right.
Continue to help the gyms, continue to promote the gyms, which then is going to trickle down to helping the most important, which is the athlete. So
100%. Well said.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone, but I agree with Casey. That was well said.
Oh, that's good. You just kind of told everyone, though. I love the quote. I picked the quote, so I like the quote, obviously.
Okay.
But I think it is important. And oftentimes, there's a lot of visionaries out there, but they do just kind of turn into dreams that fade in the wind. And I think that it is important to, follow through. Sometimes I have to reel Cole in, like, okay, let's tone the vision down just a little bit. Or can we just put that vision on pause and we'll focus on this vision at the moment?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But
really.
I think
4 or 5 visions at a time. We can't do 10.
9, just 9. We can manage 9, but you're going to have to just put the 10th one on pause. No, but it's great. It's fun. It's fun working with you guys and making those visions come to life. I feel like that's kind of the magic of what we do. So
Love
that's why we are us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Well, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and X at Join Modus. Follow us on YouTube at the Modus Edge Podcast. And wherever you listen to your podcast, give us a like or a review. We would really appreciate your feedback. If you like what we're doing and you want to hear more, let us know. And hey, if you're a gym, join the movement and sign up for Modus today and get the awesome business expo included, where you can come to the launch party and celebrate the book and all of the pioneers. We would love to have you guys there. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you have the Modus Edge.
Thank you for listening to The Modus Edge. We hope you had a blast. Join us next week for more on business, leadership, and motivation. Subscribe and follow the show where you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter at joinmodus.com. The Modus Edge podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.